Sinclair here from examreviews.ca. I want to talk to you guys today about regression. It's one of the last things that you guys learn in ADM 2304, so Stats 2 course at the University of Ottawa. A lot of students, when they start going through the notes for regression, get very overwhelmed and they see a lot of complex formulas and it looks very complicated. But let's take a minute or two here and I'll just explain to you what regression is, and it's not as bad as you might think. So, regression is a topic that probably is one of the most useful things that you can learn in terms of kind of everyday life. Let's say, for example, I were to come to you and show you a picture of a house, and I asked you a question. I said, "What do you think this house is worth?" And what you're probably going to do in order to make an educated guess is you're going to start asking me some questions. You might say, "Well, what's the square footage of the house? How big is it? How many bedrooms does it have? You know, what community, where is it located? What community is it in?" And there could be a number of different questions you might ask. So we can gather a bunch of data about this house. So based on the answers that I'm giving you, you would make a prediction, or you'd give me an estimate, and you'd say, maybe this house, is worth 700,000. Well, what regression does is it creates models for those types of situations. So basically, it's going to use data that we've collected to make a prediction about a specific value. Okay, so regression shows the strength of the relationship between two quantitative variables. So we could look at the strength of the relationship between the price of the house and the size. Now, when we dig a little deeper into regression, one becomes our predictor variable. We're going to use the size as a predictor, and that is going to predict the price, which is going to be called the response. So if you can have more than one predictor, so a simple regression would have one variable. It would use the size of the home to predict the price, where a multiple regression would use more than one. So it would use the size, it would use the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the number of garages, maybe if it has a swimming pool, etc., etc., etc. So in order to create this model and to make the prediction, we need to gather some data. So regression is going to require you to have some data about other houses that may be similar to the house we're looking at in order to make that prediction. So what regression will do is it'll take that past data and we'll plug it into one of our software programs, Excel, Minitab, StatsCrunch, whatever it might be, and it will give you this output that will then allow us to look at that relationship, the strength of that relationship, as well as the strength of the model. So what it'll do, it will come up with an equation, and all you have to do to make a prediction is take a value. So we take the value for the size of the home, we plug it into this equation as an unknown. So there's an unknown in the equation. Let's call it the X value. And then it will make a prediction about the price. And that's how regression works. Now, again, for this course, you guys are going to have to learn, some of the assumptions or some of the requirements for these models to work. You're going to have to know how to look at outputs and understand what the numbers mean. And you're also going to have to understand how to complete some hypothesis tests. So how do we actually, test the strength of that model? How do we tell which variables are useful in the model and which ones aren't? So in the session starting next week, we're going to go through all that and we're going to simplify. We're going to make it, as easy as possible. We're going to draw some graphs. We're going to have some diagrams, and I'm going to show you how to use those equations. So again, you can sign up at examreviews.ca, and I just wanted to give you guys a little brief introduction of what regression is. And if you want to dig a little deeper and get some help with that topic, then make sure to register, and I'll see you guys all on Monday.